if you're new to the channel, I'm going through the process of learning about the world. I'm going through the process of learning about mostly geopolitics, because whether you like it or not, it affects our life one way or another. And there's not a lot out there that I'm aware of. And so my goal is to stay updated with the news and give you guys what I believe and what I know. And just learn as I go. And pretty much that's kind of my process in this whole thing. Am I going to be able to be 100% right about everything? Most definitely not. Most definitely not. But hey, that ain't going to stop me from learning what's going on out there. So these are the videos that we're going to be reacting to today. Gray Zone, Max Blumanthal joined Matt Gaetz to detail the role of Israel Mossad in fueling the violent riot that ravaged Iran cities this month. Ooh. Now that's a very, very good one. I have to listen to this because Max Blumanthal is one of those journalists that I trust. All right. Now, do I trust him 100%? Of course not. There's no journalist that you can trust 100% because they're human beings. They're infallible. They make mistakes. And some people, as a matter of fact, later down the line, they switch up. Am I saying that about Max Blumenthal? Nope. But what I'm saying is he's a human being. And so you should not trust a human being 100%. Always leave room for doubt. All right. Let's go ahead and listen to what Max Blumenthal has to say about the supreme leader in Iran.
So is this report of Israeli bullets found in Iranian children a lie to deflect blame and legitimize this terrible action against dissent? Or does it expose something much darker, a foreign intel attempt at turning anger into armed insurgency regardless of the human cost? Joining us now, editor of the Gray Zone News, Max Blumenthal. Max, I was skeptical when I saw these claims that Israeli bullets were found in Iranian children. What do you make of the report?
Well, whether an Israeli bullet was found or not, there are also reports of Soviet-era bullets that have never been used in the Iranian military before. And more than that, you have Israel's Mossad on its official Farsi Twitter X channel telling Iranians at the onset of these protests, before they morphed into violent regime change riots, that they were walking alongside them, that there were Mossad assets in the protests. This was also repeated by former CIA director and ex-Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who said Mossad agents are walking beside you to Iranian protesters. And it was repeated on Israel's Channel 14, a pro-Netanyahu channel, by the Israeli correspondent Tamir Morag, who said that not only are Mossad agents active, but they are funneling weapons into these riots and are responsible, in his words, for the many body bags that are piling up in Iranian morgues. And
so what's the evidence of that, Max? Like, what is the evidence you've reviewed that Mossad agents who, you're right, I mean, a lot of people have been suggesting they were out there involved, were increasing the violence and the acuity of death?
Well, the evidence is that they've said so, that they would like to take credit, or at least partial credit, for this. There are other groups that are backed by Western intelligence and the Israelis, like the Kurdish PJAK separatists, PJAK, who were actively engaged in armed battles against Iranian security forces in the city of Kermanshah, where many were killed. There were armed battles in the city of Mashhad, Iran's second largest city, where $20 million of damage took place. We've seen the burning in Iran and destruction of something like 700 banks, 250 mosques, much of this captured on camera, and the beating to death by mobs, including armed mobs, of Basij guards who are unarmed youth supporters of the Islamic Republic usually.
So yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, none of this really surprised me, to be quite honest with you. After seeing what happened in Gaza, it's just like, okay, it's the same tactic that's being used there. All right, just create havoc. That's the whole entire goal. Create as much havoc as possible and attack crucial and critical areas, which is of course attacking the police guard, because without police guard, again, the country is unstable. So with all the police guards that have not been eliminated, guess what? Now they're going to be low on men. Crime is most likely going to be ramped up, right? Because the whole entire goal in there is to destabilize Iran as much as possible, to where they are pretty much having to focus on both their population and the strike in which America is most likely going to go ahead and start doing. and Israel also sending bombs over there. And who knows, maybe Azerbaijan also getting involved in it as well. So pretty much they are trying to attack Iran from every single direction and within Iran. That's the whole point of this. They are this is why this whole entire uprising, obviously, this is why I know for a fact that it's not organic. One. Number two, Iran is majority Muslim. All right. And with that being said, the fact that they are burning mosques tells me that the people who are behind these protests, the people who are wiling up people, obviously are not Muslims. Rather, like Max Blumenthal just said, they're CIA agent, they're Mossad, and they're getting information from outside. Once Starlink got cut off, once the internet got cut off, all of a sudden, the protests cut off dramatically. And so I've been keeping up with this whole situation and trying to understand what's going on the ground. Because again, we're not going to know what's going on. We're not. If you sit there and look at CNN, Fox News, or any of these mainstream media to give you the information of what's really going on the ground, you are misinformed. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you that right now. You are misinformed because their goal primarily is to get you to be okay with the fact that Trump is about to attack Iran. That's the whole primary goal. They're not going to sit there and tell you that Mossad is starting it. They're not going to sit there and tell you that, America has definitely put a huge amount of sanction on Iran. And because of that, their economy is being crippled. They're not going to tell you none of this stuff. So that's why, I listen to people like Max Blumenthal because he will tell you these things.
As well as the murder of seminary students, the killing of civilians, and possibly hundreds of police officers. That's according to both opposition and Islamic Republic sources. So what would the United States do if hundreds of police officers were killed with rioters?
Exactly,
I don't think it would be pretty for those rioters, particularly with the rhetoric we hear from Donald Trump against Antifa. But these are foreign intelligence services that are involved here. We also had Reza Pahlavi, who is the so-called crown prince of Iran. He's based here in Potomac, Maryland, in a mansion.
You're right.
And he is backed by Israel explicitly. He went to Israel and kissed the wall.
Of course.
He's friends with Net.
Yeah, I made videos about this in the past. And yeah, Reza Pahlavi, I'm going to tell you right now, Iranians, if there's any Iranian that come across this, that dude is not working in your favor because he went on the PBD podcast. Now, I didn't watch the whole entire thing, but I did hear people saying that this dude have no plan when he goes, let's say for the sake of argument that the Iranian regime gets overthrown, all right, and he gets put in power. He has no plan. And that tells me everything that I need to know. He is a puppet that's going to be put in place, and the only person who's going to be telling him what to do is going to be Israel. That's it. He has no plan. So him going on PBD and not giving any plan, guess what? He may say something that's going to go completely against what Benjamin Netanyahu wants. But instead of actually telling people his plan, what does he do? Let's keep watching.
Netanyahu, he called for Iranians to go out and kill government workers, to kill state media journalists. Then you have the People's MEK, which is an armed group that has been based under U.S. protection in Albania, that has cells inside Iran, that has taken credit for a lot of this violence. So I think it's very clear. And so we have to ask why. Why did these protests turn violent? And what is the agenda here? What is Israel's agenda? What is Pahlavi's agenda? The agenda is to get Trump to bomb Iran and force and manipulate Trump and the United States into a conflict from which they cannot extricate themselves, which will be financially ruinous for the global economy.
Yeah, we have a lot of members of the MEK on this program to make their case, and we press them on their claims that, like, this is the moment when the regime is going to fall. It has, at times, like a boy that cries wolf energy to it, which is why we want to hear them out and why we want to press them on those questions. You talk about the goal here, and that's what I want to get to now, because I'm really trying to figure out what chapter of the movie we're in. Obviously, the objective of Prime Minister Netanyahu was to have corresponding riots in the streets and U.S. airstrikes in Tehran. And that did not happen. So where does Bibi go now?
Yeah, so my thought on that whole situation is obviously Bibi is about to get exactly what he wants. This dude has been calling for a war, for regime change in Iran for decades. So that tells me all that I need to know. All the people out there who are constantly crying about the fact that Iran is oppressing their people, if that's the case, why is the protest not organic? You know what I'm saying? Why is it not organic? Why does the United States and Israel have to get involved in order for the people to start getting, to get people wild up? If what the claim is about Iran, hey, it should be organic. People should stand up because they have the power to do so. The army is not going to go around and start gunning everybody down. They have the power to stand up and they have the power to overthrow their supreme leader, Khamenei. But the reason why they haven't done that is because the people, they understand that the reason that their economy is in the position that it's in is simply because America has a huge amount of sanction on it. And this is not allowing Iran to sell their oil like the way they want to. The people understand that. So with the sanction being imposed on Iran, the people are actually becoming more patriotic they're becoming more patriotic. And so the strike not going through after the riot just happening is because the people, they understand the circumstance. They understand this is being done by Israel. They understand that CIA and Mossad are among the people. That's what, and we didn't even see the counter protest because it goes against the narrative. But from the way things are looking, like I said, we got more videos to go through. The way things are looking, it's only a matter of time now before the first strikes happen. But understand this, lot of American lives are about to be destroyed because Iran is a mountainous area. It's not easy to attack Iran. They're literally surrounded by mountain. But let's keep going.
Well, they now have a U.S. carrier group entering the region, entering the Persian Gulf. I don't believe Israel's anti-missile defenses were ready during last week's National Security Council meeting at the White House, and so they may have wanted to delay this. But Israel's intelligence services, along with other foreign malicious actors, including the Crown Prince and other forces,
it's such a joke. I'm sorry. Yeah. I can't even with the Crown Prince thing. Like, this is just the son of some corrupt dude that we put in charge of the country that got run out, that would never be accepted. Like, the fever dream that Reza is going to go back and run Iran is just not something that I can even indulge with the Crown Prince label.
It's utterly laughable. He's never worked a day in his life. He left Iran with millions in stolen money. Now he's backed by the Israelis and I assume some of the Gulf states. Trump even knows he can't run the country.
Nobody in the Gulf states is that dumb.
And that's why he had no plan when he went on PBD podcasts. That's why. He knows that, first of all, like Max Blumanthal just said, that Trump knows he can't run. I genuinely believe that he knows that he cannot run Iran. I genuinely believe that. And so him calling for a revolt, him calling for a riot, and so that he can get in power. And on top of that, him kissing the wall tells me all that I need to know. He wants to become a puppet. He wants to be put in a position where he doesn't have to do shit. He is somebody who hasn't worked his entire life, and all of a sudden you want him to take care of a whole entire country? That doesn't even make any sense, for one. All right? So he knows that when he gets put in power, he's not going to be running shit. He's not going to be calling the shot. He knows these things. Let's keep going, man.
Nobody, like, why not just back Aladdin to go run Iran? I don't think anyone's that dumb in the Gulf states. But.
Well, they don't have an opposition inside Iran to just come in and replace the Islamic Republic, just as they didn't have Maria Corina Machado in Venezuela ready to take over all of the institutions of the Venezuelan state. So they went for a non-regime change option in Venezuela.
But that's the new thing, Max. I mean, you've covered me, you've covered my record in Congress. I'm not some neoconservative, but I think what you're seeing in like the Trump-Vance-Rubio doctrine here is not to change the regime, but just to change someone in it and to try to incrementally improve conditions as a consequence of that. I'm way more skeptical of that in the Middle East than I am in our own backyard in the Americas. But do you think that's what Bibi is hoping for?
So this is one thing you need to understand once a regime does go through and it gets changed. Just think about what happened in Syria. When Bashar al-Assad got overthrown, what Israel did is it went ahead and destroyed almost all its military equipment. So that way, the new leader, which is the T from the head of the terrorists, I'm trying to avoid that because I don't want it, but the head of the terrorist leader who just got put in position that was shaking hand with Donald Trump in office. So that when he gets in, he doesn't, well, flip and then use that equipment against Israel. So now, if the regime change does happen in Syria, understand this. Iran. The whole, not whole thing, but a lot of the military equipment will get destroyed because there will be nothing to defend it. It will get destroyed. So this crown prince or whatever the hell he wants to call himself, if this dude gets put in position, he will not have anything to defend himself. He won't. And so this is going to put him in a position in which he's going to literally leave the door open for America to come in to protect it from whatever neighbor is going to try to attack it. That's the whole game. That's exactly what's going to happen. But we'll see. All I do know is that Iran is not going to go down without a fight because they understand that America and Israel are the one behind whatever is going on in their country right now. They know that. They're not stupid.
That we do the Maduro thing in Iran.
At this point, Trump has been tricked into playing the Israelis' game or incentivized into it by Miriam Adelson, promising that help is on the way.
I'm sorry, he didn't do it.
Well, let me make my case, which is he promised help was on the way when he wasn't prepared to launch airstrikes. This increased the death toll. It accelerated the rioting.
The reason why help did not come is simply because UAE refused to open up its airbase. That's one. Number two, Saudi Arabia, same thing. They also refused to open up their airbase. Those two countries has unanimously agreed that they're not going to allow America to just fly rocket over their head into Iran. That's why. So now that has happened, now the vessels are making their way near Iran because that's the only way to attack it is they have to not get near it.
Pahlavi told his followers after Trump said that the final days of the Islamic Republic are here. And now that Trump is pulled back, Pahlavi is on TV along with all the Israeli cutouts in Washington demanding airstrikes because their internal forces can't do it on its own. And here's another point, something that I observed inside Iran. Reform was already quietly taking place. Women were taking off hijab and it wasn't being enforced. And going back to 75% participation in, I believe, the 2015 Iran election in which a reformist was elected, people were voting for diplomacy with the U.S. And what did Trump do? He blew that up. Scott Bessent at Davos said that U.S. sanctions are what was responsible for these riots, and he took credit for it. That's going to lead to a rally around the flag effect, more nationalism, and it's going to weaken the drive for reform inside Iran. As soon as Trump pulls back from this Israeli agenda, you're going to see change inside Iran, but he is playing the Israelis' game. And what does Netanyahu want? He actually wants U.S. casualties. He wants the U.S. to be bogged down in a conflict, and then the U.S. will be forced to focus on that region instead of, for example, China or Ukraine. Netanyahu wants to keep the U.S. focused on his main enemy.
And this is why I say I like Max Blumenthal, because it's like right there. It only makes sense that that's the goal of this whole thing, because Israel cannot take down Iran by itself. It needs America to do so. And in order for a regime change to happen, there needs to be boots on the ground. And the Iranians are not going to back down. This is going to be like Iraq and Afghanistan 2.0. And so a lot of Americans are going to lose their life. Why? Because of, I don't know, they don't want Iran to build a nuke. Literally, it's the same thing that happened. WMD, 20-year war. Have we forgotten about that already? Millions of innocent people died. Thousands of U.S. troops died. All for what? For a weapon that does not exist. And now we're trying to attack Iran. For what? Oh, Iran is a major threat to America. It's not. Trust me, Iran is not a major threat to America, but it's a major threat to the state of Israel. And now thousands of U.S. troops are about to die just because Benjamin Netanyahu, he wants that.
Yeah, I think Netanyahu wants the Middle East awash in war refugees so that there are not rising capital markets in places that aren't New York and London. But the allegation that Trump is just sort of awaiting the moment when Netanyahu says do it is one that I think is misplaced. Here, I think Trump understood that strikes in Tehran weren't going to decapitate the regime. And so they would be strikes sort of with no end and also with no clear victory. And that was what Trump wasn't willing to endure. If there's a presentation that there's indeed some sort of successful regime change without widespread chaos in the Middle East, who knows what the president would do. But I think there's a different weight being applied than just the readiness of Israelis' defenses. But I appreciate you debating with me. Thanks for coming on. Max Blumenthal, editor at the Gray Zone News.